Okay, my name is Patrick Coyle. I'm an artist from Hull in North Yorkshire, and I studied fine art at Byam School of Art in North London, and then MFA art writing at Goldsmiths. And I finished my MA about 5 years ago, and have continued my work mainly through performance in the last, I'd say in the last 4 or 5 years. I know I have to keep these short, so I don't know how far to go. It's like a 70-second answer, right? Okay. So should I do question 2? Two. Okay. So this one's much more difficult. What is art for me? I'd say for me, art is a translation of, well, it's a process of translation of an interaction between myself and the world. That process for me personally takes on many different forms, but I usually present it through a spoken act of some kind. So there's also a kind of default medium for me, which is the voice. Question 3. So that's a great question. If the voice, this idea of the voice has either sound or meaning, I suppose for me it begins with meaning. It always begins with some attempt to make sense through writing, or to make sense of the world through writing. But when it comes to me actually speaking it, it becomes far more of I'd say a musical concern, and it makes a shift from being purely about meaning to being far more about sound. So for me it's both, but it tends to begin with meaning, and then it becomes more of a sonic concern. Number 4. What's number 4? And again, I guess it depends on the definition of beat and the definition of Zen, but I would identify or associate more with the terminology around beat. If we're talking about beat poetry, then I'd certainly say that's an influence on the way I perform more than on the way I write. Beat, and then I guess through repetition, I would hope to get to a state of Zen in one way or another, but that's obviously not always the case, and that's if we're taking Zen to mean in its most basic definition, some sort of trance-like meditative state. So again, my answer is both. And number 5 is so the idea of voice and object, and the material and the immaterial, is also a fascinating one, especially because recently I've been looking into the origins of the alphabet and the pictographic origins of our modern day alphabet, and the way language, of course, comes from the very physical world, or from an image of a landscape or of a particular object. So recently I've been specifically looking at getting back to the material origins of language, and again, I guess I'm interested in the materiality of the printed word, and how that differs from the materiality of the spoken word. What's that one? Does that say 6? You need to. Can you remind me the question? Oh, as a reading. I was thinking of reading something else. Is that okay, or would you rather? Yeah, because okay. So this is something that I produced when I was still on my MFA, which I think is quite a good example of where it said came from, where the beginnings of that way of writing came from, which was all to do with hearing signs, seeing signs and hearing different signs in the underground, in the tube. So this is a pamphlet called Timepieces that I made with some fellow students on my course, and it's the result of a residency on the Jubilee line. So this is all, the first statement is what I heard or read, and the second statement is what I interpreted that sign to be. So yeah, I thought this was good because it's about 90 seconds as well. It's called 1 second delay, or it's called 1 day second lay, because it's laid out like this. This station is Old Street, this old saint at the station. Please stand back from the platform edge, please to be standing back in platform wedges. Change here for Moorfields Eye Hospital. Change what you hear for more fields, I hope, and mainline suburban rail services, and real sirs mainly suburban on ice. The next station is Bank, the next pirate station of bankers. That this train terminates, that train termites. Continuing your journey from, see on tin you win George's yearning form. London Bridge is falling down, lift going up when up is down. Jubilee line, Julie, be mine. Please mind the gap, please gap the mind. Help point, heel point. No smoking, but no one's mocking. The next station is Southwark, the next saint to walk south of the arc. Keep clear, key player. Destination, Stratford, destined for Stratocasters and Fords. Fire exits, 12 ferrets. Stop, push, push pots, penalty for improper use, and a penchant for being improsperous. Do not take any risks, do not take any skis. Bermondsey to Birmingham-on-Sea, in an emergency, inanimate you see. This train terminates in Stanmore. This termite trainer can't stand any more. Passenger emergency alarm, massaging of the Regency arm. This train terminates at Stratford, training termites to play guitars and drive cars. Jubilee line eastbound platform. Julie made a beeline east, bound in platforms. The end. This station is Old Street, this old saint at the station. Please stand back from the platform edge, please to be standing back in platform wedges.